Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be the Winter Essentials book tag. This tag was created by Taylor Reitz and it is all about lots of different things having to do with winter, and I wanted to make this to celebrate winter being about to end and the fact that I want to film spring tags, so I should film some winter tags first. So the first question is, crackling fire, who is your favorite cold character who warmed up towards the end? I have a couple of those because I really like that type of character. One of them is one of my favorite ever characters, Eve Dallas from the J.D. Robb in Death series. She starts out very closed in because of bad things that have happened in her past, and she gradually opens up emotionally throughout the series. I also really like the King of Winter, or the Lord of Winter from Spinning Silver. I really like seeing his character progression, but the main one that I want to pick for this is Zainab from Love from A to Z, and she doesn't start out exactly cold, but she does have a lot of walls up to protect herself, and she's actually more of a hot-headed character to start out, and she's kind of angry at the world for understandable reasons, and she has a hard time trusting people and engaging with people because of that, and she is kind of always on the defensive, and I like seeing her grow through this book to kind of let people in a bit more and learn that it's valuable to have friends that you connect with and that you can go to rest with before going back out and trying to make the world a better place. Number 2, Snowflakes. What is a book that is full of unique characters? And this made me think of books where you assemble a troupe of characters who are all kind of important, but each have their own part of the group that is very different. And so that made me think of The Gilded Wolves, which is a very good book that I really enjoyed, but that was very emotionally harrowing. And it is one of those heist team made up of archetypes stories that is all about how the characters are very different from each other, but that's what makes them work well together. And the variety of the characters in that book is one of my favorite things about it. Plus, one of the characters is autistic. Number 3, Gingerbread Family. What fictional family would you like to be a part of? And for this, I tend to like found families better than biological families, although sometimes you find a really cool biological family in books. One that has a really cool family like that is the Dragonology series by Dougal A. Steer. In that book, the two main characters are siblings, and their parents, unlike a lot of middle grade parents, are actually still alive and are really cool people and aren't, you know, bad guys or incompetent. They're just absent because they're off doing really important work. And I really like that family dynamic, and one of my favorite found families is the one from Rise of Kiyoshi, in which Kiyoshi finds some people who used to know her parents and finds out that they work together and starts working with them. And I really like all of their dynamics, and they kind of also have that criminal group who each person has their own characteristics and their own talents, and that's why they work together really well, using their own skills for the good of the whole group. And they are really sweet with each other and want to take care of each other even when they have difficulties or disagreements. So I would really like to be part of that. Number 4, Blizzard. What is a book that had you confused pretty much the whole time? And for that one, I picked This Town Sleeps, because that was a book that I did not understand what was going on for most of it. It wasn't a type of genre that I had read much before, and I couldn't tell where it was going, and I didn't really like that feeling, and it ultimately, most of it didn't make sense to me. Like, the individual parts made sense usually, but like the overall arcing thing was the part that I was confused by. Number 5, gift giving. What is the book that was most recently gifted to you? And I pretty much buy my own books. I don't really like other people buying books for me because they usually, the chances aren't great they're going to get it right. The few books that I have been given, people are pretty good at doing it, but they are also usually wary. They don't want to get me a book that I'm not going to like, because that would be a waste. But I have been loaned books quite a bit, and one of those is this giant Jane Austen tome that has all of her works in it, including one of the books that isn't usually considered part of her canon, that was printed after she died, but that she had fully written before she passed away, and that is Lady Susan, which is an epistolary novel. And I was loaned this because I had never read that before and wanted to try it out, and I am excited to get to it because I love Jane Austen, I really like epistolary novels, so it should be really good. Number 6, Snowball. What is the biggest book you have ever read? And the biggest book in one bind-up I ever read was The Lord of the Rings. I read in a 1,000 or 1,200 page bind-up, but the longest single book has been A Turn of Light, which is a really good book. It's a very slow book. It's like 850 pages. But it's really, really good, and it's part of a trilogy, so if you added it and the next 2 books, which are also really long, to it, it would ultimately be longer than the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And the longest book that I read last year, that was only 590 pages, was A Deathless Divide, which honestly, if each half of it, because it's divided into 2 halves very distinctly, had been made a bit longer, it would have made a better trilogy than duology, because this was the second book, because the first and second halves of the second book are very different from each other. Number 7, wrapping paper. What is your most beat up book? And I don't have that many very beat up books anymore because we had a fire and all my books are pretty new, but I have bought some used books that were worn out by other people, and one of those is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. It's got some little mucky dirt on it. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but it's got little crease lines and more crease lines on the back, and it's got stuff left over from a library sticker on it, and there's like discoloration on the edges here, and all the little edges of this are all worn out, and a little bit of dog earringness has happened to this corner, so not too bad, but at the moment this is as bad as my books get. Number 8, Christmas lights. What is a book that you own that has a bunch of different colors on it? And I picked The Boy Who Lost Fairyland because it has this very special stuffed wombat that is in rainbow colors, made of patchwork that the main character's mother made for him. Plus it's got this gorgeous green in the background and a red wyverary and all this gold and all that going on. Very pretty. Number 9, ice skating. What is a book that had a plot that was all over the place? And I picked The Night Watchman by Louise Erdrich because once again I didn't know what was going on with that book. I liked it a lot better the other confusing book, but the plot itself was the most confusing. In this case, the characters were pretty understandable, but I didn't know what was going on with the plot, or if it was even meant to be a plot type book. It felt like mostly a character book, and it was like, it felt very real lifey with things not having a beginning, middle, and end. It was more like, this is just what happened, and real life doesn't go in like arcs like that. And it was also from a bunch of different points of view, so we got to see a bunch of different storylines, and only at some points did they actually connect to each other. So that one was all over the place, but in a good way that I felt like explored the subject matter really well. Can't tell you what it's about really succinctly, but it centers a specific indigenous community and the lives of a bunch of different members of this community, and it somewhat centers a night watchman who is a member of the council of this community. I think it's all one tribe, but I'm not sure, and he does all his council work while he is working the night shift because he doesn't have anything else to do. He's just needs to be there, a warm body to watch the cameras and do patrols every once in a while. Number 10, Christmas tree. What is your favorite character of all time? And they say yes, you can only choose one. And for me, I thought about it for maybe 10 seconds and I was like, it's Éowyn. Éowyn from The Lord of the Rings. That's just hands down best character. Because I wanted to mix, because some characters are my favorite because of childhood nostalgia, and some are just freaking amazing even nowadays, and that one combines those two. So, you know, iconic And number 11, The Star. What is a book you look forward to rereading every year? I mostly am someone who either rereads something every month or rereads something every few years. There aren't that many books that I reread once a year, but I haven't read Sorcery of Thorns for about a year, and I am feeling very much like it's due a reread. I enjoyed it so much, and it just made me feel really good, so I'm thinking this is one that I could make a yearly reread. And I don't know if anyone else will want to make this tag this year, but if any of them feel like making it, I will tag A Reading Warrior, Native Lady Book Warrior, Bobby's Dusty Pages, and the other Christine who reads, because they are all really cool booktubers who I enjoy the content of. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!